Welcome back to the Brothers Woods podcast. I'm Joshua, my brother Jared here.
I'm right here.
And we just went and saw The Dark Tower
Yesterday.
Yesterday. We were going to do this last night. We ended up holding off and doing it today. But yeah, we have some thoughts on it, and we think you might want to hear them.
And let me just say, holding off on it, I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea for a day. But my opinion has changed a little bit because we went from leaving, when we were leaving it, I was kind of like, and then now that we've really left, I've been like, fuck that movie, yo.
I guess you just gave away your quickie review.
Yeah, I kind of did.
Well, yeah, we're going to start off like we normally do with a quickie review, spoiler-free review. So we're going to kind of go into that. What'd you think of the movie? Obviously, you kind of said that, but get into a little more detail here.
Yeah. And so, there are some cool things about the movie. There are cool things in the movie, but not too many, and it's crazy cheesy. Who gives a fuck about the story almost is almost the level. Like, I wasn't caring that much about following it, even though I liked The Dark Tower a lot. And I think the big thing that made it hard to get into was specifically because I've read the books, and I know these characters, and they sort of went like a cliched versions of all the characters, is what I felt.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to accept that as time went on. First, you see Jake, and I can kind of accept Jake's, and then every other character comes in, and like it's just like, the reason I think it's hard to accept is that I think the characters from Dark Tower were good characters that I really liked, and then now they're like cliched up to be put into a blockbuster movie, and so it's just like they're lesser characters.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like a theme to this whole movie. I've seen other people kind of talk about it, and I agree, and that it's essentially a movie that's like the shell of a movie. It's like they have all this content that they could have got into, source material, and they just were like, let's just create this story that touches on little bits of it, but never really does anything. And it's just like, it's like a bunch of stuff kind of crammed in. They wanted to cram in this, cram in that. But because of that, it's just like, it's only a 90-minute movie. So it's like really short. It's like a shell of a movie. You don't get any real character development or depth other than maybe for Jake.
Honestly, though, they didn't have to cram a story in. Like cram a bunch of stuff in, I mean. They could have gone really anywhere they wanted to with this story, because they're not beholden to the books in that way. The only way, in my opinion, they were beholden to the books is in the characters, which they fucked up a little bit. There is moments where you see these characters, and they are there. It's just they kind of like, again, they cliched them up.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should have, I think they just tried to go too much of it in one movie. Like, they have all, like we were just saying, they have all this source material. Like, I don't understand why they did, like, they tried to, I guess they wanted to make their own thing, which I'm 100% okay with.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
When you convert books to movies, you got to do your own thing. You can't just copy it.
Yeah.
But they could have started it off as like they were too busy trying to like set up this thing, big world. Like, they could have just had like a simple story with these characters to start them off. Like, it didn't have to be. I don't know. I felt like it was like going out of its way.
That was a big thing. I don't want to necessarily talk about it, but they introduced a thing right in the first scene that I'm like, they really could have held off on that probably for a while.
Yeah, like it's, you'll see the first thing. I'm obviously not going to go directly into the spoiler free, but first thing, it's like you got to ease your crowd into the things that are going on in the world. You know, when you have a fantasy world, like a different world, you can't just throw them in and just not explain things. And that's like essentially what they do. They have all, and if you can have one or two of these kinds of things, but literally the whole movie, there's everything they do, there's no explanation.
Yeah, they are kind of like, and this.
So it's one of these movies that where you kind of have to have read the source material to have any inkling of what is kind of going on. However, if you have read the source material, they fucked all of that up too, so then you're going to be pissed off of that. And I think that's where these bad reviews you're seeing online are coming from, is like, no matter which party you're in, you're going to be a little pissed off. And even the party where I come from, where a lot of times, like, you'll see books to movies, and I'm okay with, like, we were talking about, well, it's not a book, but we were talking about the World of Warcraft movie, and I thought that was...
I was going to bring that up.
I thought that was pretty decent, actually. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was decent, because I know the lore, but I'm okay with them changing things, unlike some people. But here, they fucked that up, too.
Yeah, I was about to say that I was going to bring up the Warcraft thing, because both of us actually kind of liked that movie. Not that we were amazing, super into it, but we enjoyed that movie, and, you see people on sort of both sides of that movie came from. There were people who didn't know the lore, and they didn't like it because they couldn't follow it, and then there were people who knew the lore really well and just hated any change they made. And me and you were sort of we're coming from a position of being like, it's fine. It's for a movie. Change it how you want, but just don't do things that are dumb. And in this movie, they did things that are dumb.
Yeah, the action scenes were decent, but then there was a lot of kind of cheesiness in the action scenes.
Oh, so cheesy, some of them.
Especially near the end, I think.
Ugh. The whole magic system, how that works, I didn't really like.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. I was really irritated with that. Like, in the book, not to get too much into it, but Walter's magic isn't anywhere near like it is in the movie.
No.
In the movie. And, like, it was just really weird, like, pronounced. I almost had that, not to bring it up too much, but that last Avatar or the last Airbender movie kind of feel to it, where it was like, just, or did you really read the book?
It's like where you see that you're like, wait a minute, this guy's name is not Ong. They say it in the series. It's A.
And it has a lot of that. And then and here's another thing I just want to bring up. One thing I fucking hate is when movies say, I didn't realize I hated this until this movie, but, Walter says this, Matthew McConaughey's character says it, like, he talks about his magic and he calls it magics.
Yeah.
And I hate it when people do that because it makes them sound like
it's like
they're making fun of fantasy
it's
or
like
something.
when an old person is like, oh, and you superheroes and you.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so he did that in this movie like 5 times, and every time I didn't realize I hated it, but when he did it, it's just like it was cringing the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it's kind of cringy. There are properties where it's appropriate to be like, and the magics. That's in world, right? But this isn't one of them, I don't think.
Yeah. He's resisting my magics.
I can't take them on with my magics, but I can do it on other people.
Yeah. So there's that. But
that's my Matthew McConaughey voice. Hey man, this is all right. You
should have played Walter, because that was like a creepy Matthew McConaughey, which would have actually worked. On that note, though, to not go too far off the characters, I actually think the characters did a really good job. That was the one thing that actually held through in this movie. Casting. I
thought was great, actually. Yeah. Especially Jake. You were telling me the other day you thought
the casting I think was fantastic. All the characters, even I was making fun of Matthew McConaughey, but I feel like a lot of that was the writing. And he was given...
And directing,
yeah. The directing. He was given some just shit material. Especially, and I wanted to bring this up, was Tom Taylor, Jake Chambers. Jake Chambers' character, played by Tom Taylor. I think he did fantastic. You get these young actors sometimes that play in a movie, and they're there, but they're clearly not very good because they're young and shit. But... Tom Taylor,
you young people.
Tom Taylor did a fantastic job, so I want to give him props. Obviously, Idris Elba always does really good. Matthew McConaughey, his was a little weaker, but I don't necessarily think it was Matthew McConaughey. I think a lot of it had to do with the writing and the plot for his, and specifically the words they were giving him to say, like, again, magics. I don't know if he said that or if they wrote that in there, but it was things like that were just like, what the fuck?
There were cheesy dialogue. I think each character had at least one line of cheesy dialogue that I was like, why would... No, come on, don't do that.
Also, Catherine Winnick from Vikings was in there.
Viking chick.
The hot Viking chick, and she did fantastic, so I wanted to call her out as well. And all of them did good. The dude at the end, I can't think of his name now, but the guy he gets in the fight scene at the end with...
The guy who... Oh, wait, we can't... Yeah,
well,
spoiler free.
Yeah, okay.
I was about to go into it. I was like, wait, we can't do that.
But, I mean, the dude who gets the fight, he does really fantastic as well. But I think they just... Overall, I think the big issue was, for the quickie review, is that they should have done more character development. Just, I think, made a smaller story and got more in-depth into a story. Or maybe made it 40 minutes longer and just added more material in that could have went into these characters, shown character growth, shown more depth and less confusion into what the fuck was going on. Because again, even me, have read all the books, it took me a second to even realize what the hell was going on and like why they were doing it on this weird order. And so I think if they would have not had so many confusing moments for people and making people not understand what the hell is going on and more character development and in-depthness, that it could have been actually a really good movie. And it may have been.
That's what hurts.
It may have been. I mean, the movie was edited like poorly. Like it was really chopped up, I felt like. So there might have been another 3 hours worth of movie.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. It was very cheesy. It was very silly in a lot of parts. Yeah. I don't know if we should have trusted these 4 writers 4 people
Oh, yeah.
wrote this.
Which I did want to bring up, one being Akiva Goldsman, who is a fucking failure in the last
Damn.
couple of years. Fuck him and never let him write another movie again until he proves himself in some B-rated movie or something. I don't know. He does an awful job. He's also did Transformers, which was absolutely awful.
Oh,
The last Transformers. The other guy under him writing also, like Jeff Pinkner or whatever. I don't think he's very good either. He did The Amazing Experiment 2, which is where they were like, oh,
that's the one where they stopped.
Yeah, that's
making...
the one where they stopped. It was
They're
like, oh, this was awful.
didn't work.
So yeah, I think they needed to hire better writers. I think that's the biggest issue here is the editing and writing and directing of the movie. I think the actors did a fantastic job.
It blows my mind that there were 4 writers on this. Like this, how could 4 writers? Like one of them had to be a translator. That's how crazy it is. Like it's nuts. Like 4 people on this script. Like one of them read the book and told another one the summary. That guy wrote it in Ukrainian, Russian,
Denmark.
and then someone translated it, and then the director made a few touches. That's how there were 4 writers.
Yeah. So overall, what would you give this?
I think this is a step above the Dragon Ball Z movie.
So what? Give me a
Just a little. I don't know.
out of 10.
Maybe like I'm gonna say like a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. So
Like-
what's that? Like a 4 out of 10?
Technically, yeah, like a 4 out of 10. Technically watchable.
Technically watchable.
And there are some good moments. And again, I think the casting. It sucks because I think the casting is good, and I like the source material.
I'm gonna give it maybe like a 5.5 out of 10. Because I still thought it was enjoyable, but I mean partially because I kind of knew what was going on and things. So maybe if you haven't read the source material, you might just be completely confused.
And I will say that if you're okay, if you don't care about the Dark Tower series, you don't know about it or don't care about it, and you're okay with cheesy things going into this, you might like it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean there's some dope gun scenes and things like that.
Yeah, but except cheesiness.
Yeah. So with that, I think unless you got something else to add to the quickie review.
That's it. That's the spoiler free.
That's the spoiler-free review, and so, yeah, we're about to get into the spoiler one. Up next, just real quick to mention, is I think we're going to do our halfway segment for Game of Thrones, so episodes 1 through 4, talk about that next week or sometime in the next week. And Mistborn
yeah.
after that. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. We're going to start the first book of that. So, yeah, that'll be up in the future. And you should turn this podcast off if you don't want to get spoiled now.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to get a little more in depth. So, 5 seconds, but get out of here if you don't, if you don't want to be spoiled.
What I say last? Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
Okay.
And good. All right, we're back. Spoiler review coming in. And go ahead.
I was just say, well, review and like discussion. We're just gonna go through it.
Yeah, we're just gonna go through kind of what happened in the movie and talk about the stupid shit or the good shit.
Some of that, a little bit of good stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of good. Like it wasn't all bad. Again, like I said, the characters I felt like did a fantastic job.
Like I said, I think coming out of it, I was a little bit different. It's now just because we waited the day. It's compounded on me. All the bad stuff is stuck out more, and the good stuff has come down, and that's why I've turned a little bit lower, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of gonna go through it a little bit. The first part we're gonna talk about, I guess, is we'll talk right off the bat. So right off the bat, you got Jake dreaming this. He's dreaming about Midworld, and yeah, that was the part where we were talking about the spoiler-free part, where it was like, if you've never read the books, like you don't really know what the fuck is. You just got these kids shooting laser beams out of their fucking
They
head.
start immediately, and they're like, "Here's a bunch of kids." They take them into like a chamber, I guess. They strap them up, and then they use them to shoot a beam at a giant tower, and that's it. I imagine if you haven't seen this before, you're like, "What the fuck was that?" And then you see what's his name, Jake, wake up. There's an earthquake going on, so sort of tie in like that happened, and then the earthquake happened. Get it? But that was the thing that I was talking about. Introducing the Dark Tower like this already, in this sort of they're trying to break it, the Breakers plot, basically.
Yeah.
Introducing that already might have been, it's a little weird. Like, they didn't have to do that if they're going for a trilogy, I don't think. They needed to talk about the Dark Tower and stuff like that.
I don't know what they're going for here because I've not heard.
You're
anything.
right. I don't know.
They kind of set it up.
They
to where
leave it open.
Yeah, they leave it open, but which is part that kind of really irritated me. Actually,
But then again, they solved the main problem that was introduced. We don't know of any other problem, unless you've read the books. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like I don't know what they were fucking thinking with this whole movie because they make it seem like it's like going to be this one-time movie thing, but then they leave it open. But then in doing that, like I said, they should have, if they were going to leave it open and make a trilogy or 3 or 4 or 5 movies, then they should have just broke it down more like they took the first and the second book or something and did that into one movie and made a good story where they could really start to fill you into
put you
the
into
world.
the world. Yeah.
And little by little, and the characters and things like that.
I think they should have written it. They should have gone Lord of the Rings style, like have a 3 trilogies in mind. Write out all three movies. Have a trilogy in mind. Write out all 3 movies. Have an ending to each one and a break in each one. Mm-hmm. And Lord of the Rings might have its problem, how it feels long and all that stuff, and it is very long. But I think if they would have done that, kept it in mind, they could have said, "All right, this first movie, this is what we need to accomplish. Second movie, this is what we need to accomplish. Third movie, we have the big ending." And this is the Breakers plot in general was probably like a second movie plot, really.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to be a first movie plot.
Not to get too much into the books, but that
not at all. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
I mean, I'm not saying to be spoilers, but I mean that kind of thing doesn't even, or that part doesn't even happen until way later in the books.
That idea is not come into until later in the books. But I just think, in general, you don't need to do that in the first one because that's sort of like a big deal. Like keeping these, like I said, they solved that problem. Now what? They don't have any other problem introduced to them.
Yeah.
According to the movie, that is over with. Nobody's attacking the tower anymore.
Pretty much. I mean, they leave it open, like, with Roland at the end, and then supposedly, I didn't state to the whole thing, but supposedly there's, you can hear a whistle at the end of the credits.
Oh, so that Walter's still alive.
And it sounds like Walter, so Walter was supposedly still alive, which could make sense. I mean, he's very hard to kill.
Yeah, he's supposed to be
hard to kill. So, there's that. The next kind of thing, we see Jake wake up. It shows him in his abusive household, essentially. Like, his mom's really cool, but his mom's in this relationship with this dude who's a dickhead.
Yep,
the standard stepfather dickhead.
It was a cliche, sort of like his mother cares about him, but he has a dick stepdad, and he hates the stepdad, but he loves his mother.
Yeah.
Which is it's a change from the book character. That doesn't ultimately affect his character that much, I don't think. Like, I can kind of see why they did it.
Does that change? I don't remember.
Yeah, without being too spoilery, basically, he doesn't have that many connections to the real world in the book. He has like I don't think it's his stepfather. I think he just has a biological mother and father, but his father's a dick and his mother's aloof, and he doesn't have like any friends. Whereas in this, he does have like a caring mother and a friend.
They did that a lot where they just completely changed up the characters too.
Yeah, they changed a lot of the characters, and
like you see, we were talking about this yesterday with Roland. What were you saying when we first meet Roland and?
Yeah, I was saying like when you first meet Roland, basically the kid gets there and he's like, I drew these pictures of you, I seen you, and Roland's like, fuck off, kid, I ain't even having it or anything. Book Roland would have been like, this is important. Like,
yeah, like he's all about
he's kind of religious in the book, and in this one he's like, fuck the world. And he's very revenge driven.
He's very driven, but like you were saying, yeah.
He's revenge driven in this, and the other one he's still revenge driven, but he's also just obsessive about the Dark Tower and everything because that is all he has. Everything else is taken away. Whereas in this one, all he cares about is killing Walter because Walter took everything away. But that key difference is like, oops, my pop filter just, that key difference changes his character in a way that, like in this one, he's like a dick, not a dick, but he's kind of like, I don't, go away kid, or I don't care about being a gunslinger, all that, and which is very different than his character in the book, in that his book character's like, he's like, I'm the last gunslinger, and he respects the old ways. He still is a gunslinger, whereas in this one, he's running away from it.
Yeah.
And I think he's a lesser character for it.
Yeah, I mean, they did a lot of, like, questionable choices like that. Like, well, just Walter in general. Now that we're kind of spoilers, like he in the book isn't really like the way they set him up here.
He's
He's the the Crimson King. Like,
I was actually going to talk about that. I wonder if people who haven't read the book think that he's the Crimson King, because they show like Crimson King and all that stuff, but they don't give any indication that there is a Crimson King other than that. Walter looks like he's in charge and everything, and in the book it's quite a bit different. I don't want to talk about it really.
Yeah, not to get too much into it, but like the way it would be like, I don't know, like maybe like if you're watching like Harry Potter, and instead of Voldemort, some guy who was like third in command ended up being the main bad guy, and Voldemort was just never around.
Yeah,
it was like
they're just like the man who'll never be named, and then like fucking like Beatrix was like the
Beatrix was the main villain. Yeah, throughout the entire series, like it just didn't make sense. Like I don't know, it drove me a wall. But next he goes to school, doing his little antisocial drawing thing. I like this scene. Bully takes a shit, typical bully thing.
He punches that.
Without any, question, bro. Just like, wham!
He's like, give me my book. I said give me my book. And he's like, chill down, Jake. And Jake just punches him right in his face.
Which I love that, actually.
And then they send him home. And Jake's like, I don't even care about any of this.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
That's pretty good. I like that. I think that's pretty good.
At this part in the movie, other than that first initial scene, which you don't have any indication of what the fuck is going on with that, unless you've read the books, it's not too bad. The initial part with Jake isn't that bad. It's kind of setting up Jake although it's weird that they have, all over the covers and everything, it's all Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, Man in Black versus Roland Deschain. But then essentially the movie's about Jake.
The movie is actually pretty much about Jake. Jake is, in fact, the chosen one in this.
Yeah.
Pretty much literally, they're like, whoa, he's the real deal. He's got the shine and all of that, which, that's sort of true. But, they do make a big deal out of him. And it's the movie is more about him than it is about, I would say, Roland or Walter.
So goes home, has some more dreams. They're going to send him off to some, where essentially it's going to end up being like they're sending him off to the rat people that you see in the first dream. He dreams about a house, though.
And he also dreams about, this is where Roland is introduced. He dreams about Roland and his father fighting Walter, and this is where his dad's like, as long as we have the tower, as long as the tower still stands, nothing else matters.
By the way, that whole scene was cheesy as fuck to me as well.
It was very cheesy.
I did not like
so much of this movie. Then Walter just goes, this is where we see Walter's magic for the first time as well. He's like whistling, or maybe he's just like, hey, 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 whatever. He's doing that sort of like
echoing
thing where you can't see him, and they're looking for him and everything, and then all of a sudden he's like, now sleep.
Now stop breathing or something.
Stop breathing, yeah, but...
And he's like, stop breathing, and he just says a command and like...
And then...
Here's a quick point. What does he need to destroy the Dark Tower of these, children's mind if he could literally just kill anybody he wants? The entire world. He could literally just be like, you're all dead. And they're all dead. The magic system in here is, completely, it's not like the book at all, and it's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, he just goes... Stop breathing. And then, he stops breathing and he dies. And Roland's like, fuck you. That sort of, it shows Roland's motivation in that Walter has killed or destroyed everything that Roland has ever had. Again, I don't know if I like everything being pinned on Walter, but I guess it's good that he has a vendetta against Walter. He doesn't like him. That's pretty good. At least it gives him some motivation there. It just, takes away from some other stuff.
Yeah. Jake wakes up. It's the next morning, and two people show up to take him away to the mental institute that his mom's going to send him off to for the weekend. Go have a fun trip at the...
It's just a camp. I think they might have said something like that.
Arkham Asylum, bye! But he realizes that they're rat people, because he sees the shit on their
They'll have
neck.
a line on their neck so that you can...
which I'm assuming you've seen the movie, so you would know this as well. But, it does that. He escapes, goes to the house, goes to the portal, gets attacked by a fucking house demon monster.
Yep.
which was okay, I guess.
Right.
I don't necessarily like how he just kills it, I guess.
I think that, yeah, this is the first time he uses his shine, and the demon's like basically trapped him, and he goes, "Stop!" And then
he just stops. Like, the magic in here.
The magic is just command based. It's like talking to Siri.
Yeah, it just doesn't
Find me a
sense.
restaurant near me. Oh,
It doesn't seem to have limits, like at least clear-cut limits.
The rules aren't well defined, I don't think. The rules are as
It's a really poor
you just say what you
dynamic
want and it works, unless it's against Roland.
system. Unless it's against Roland, who for some reason doesn't get affected by the magic.
Yeah, for some unknown reason.
Goes through the portal, walks through the desert a little bit, finds Roland. This is where you first meet Roland. We were just talking about that kind of.
Yeah, where Roland's like, I don't care what you're about. Get out of here, boy.
Get out of here, little one.
And then he shows him a picture of the Man in Black, and Roland's like, okay, well, we gotta see your visions now. So he's like, there's a town over here. We'll go over there. There's a seer over there.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I was thinking about why did he even want to go to this town? So yeah, they're like, let's go to this town, and this is where they go. Takes them like a day. So at night they walk through the It theme park. So shout out to Stephen.
Is that
King's,
what that was?
That's
Okay.
that's the It theme park. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the movie. I don't even know if I've.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what
Or
that
read it.
was. They fight their first demon here, I guess.
Yeah.
Or that's, I guess, Jake's second. Man's on a roll.
Yeah.
Boy's on a roll. But there's like a tear through space-time or whatever, and the demon's kind of getting through whatever. They stop that. But some other demon gets through, and they have a nice little scene. This was one of the scenes actually I thought was okay.
I guess. I don't think the effect of shooting the demons is particularly great. Or fighting the demons looked very good. He just kind of filled them full of lead, and that was it.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that. I don't know what else he could.
Also, like,
into how he. I mean, not to get into that.
They were almost kind of standard demon people that you would see in like any sort of demon type movie.
Yeah.
Any movie where a demon might show up, they were kind of like pretty cliched type demons. I felt like.
Very true.
It just rips up. I mean, there's like a rip because of the Dark Tower being torn apart or whatever, and so
Being attacked.
and it's sort of explained here at this point, I think, as well, that the whole idea of the Dark Tower falling is that the Dark Tower's keeping all these demons back, and that if the Dark Tower falls, all these demons will come in, and that's the apocalypse, which is not necessarily how it works in the book, but that's okay. Like, we don't necessarily need that, I guess.
It doesn't have to be the same as the book, and I'm okay with that. It just needs to make sense and work.
Although
in
it
its
would
own
have been
rights.
better, probably, had it been like it was in the book. It would have been probably more thought-provoking.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
But this works in a blockbuster hit type of movie, I guess.
We say it works. It doesn't work. That's the problem. Nothing in this movie fucking works.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It was very hard. If you read the books and liked them, it's going to be hard for you to watch this movie. It's very hard for me to accept a lot of this stuff because it's just not as well written.
So they get to the town, and I guess now they get their little things read. Walters and
By the way, the seer, I believe, is Colleen Wong. Colleen Wong, I think it is. The samurai chick. I mean, the chick from Iron Fist.
oh, is that her?
I'm pretty sure it's her. I'm not 100%, but
I
I
don't
think.
think that's her.
Well, whatever. Look it up. Google
I'll look it up as I'm doing this, but I'm pretty sure that's not her. But anyways, so they have to go back to New York because I guess Walter's there. Is that what happened? She tells them they're going back to New York for some reason.
When did they go back to New York?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're going to go back to New York. They have a porter here. They're like, oh, we can't use it. But then they get attacked by some fucking.
What were those things?
I don't even think there's unless they're trying to be like they're the one thing from the book and the fifth book. The wolves of the column.
Oh, was that what those were supposed to be? Maybe.
I guess.
Oh, you
They
might be right.
could have
How
been
did I
that.
not think about that?
I'm not sure if that's what they were though. But anyways, they're attacked. This scene has some pretty cool little gunplay scenes, I guess, with Roland, except for the one I guess you see at the end. Well, I don't know. That's fine. This actually probably was the best gun scene
Probably
in the whole book.
the
Or
one
the
I
whole
think you're
movie.
talking about is the one where one of the monsters captures Jake. Jake, he's running off or whatever with Jake, and Roland's like, "I got this," and he closes his eyes. He points his gun up. He concentrates until he hears the monster, and then he shoots the monster from like super far distance through like 5 things. I thought was super cheesy, but could have been earned. Had the movie been better, I could have accepted that scene.
I was okay with that scene because in the books even, he's a mythical gunslinger. He's not some normal fucking guy with a gun.
But he's not a god. But he is.
That doesn't mean he's a god. I mean, you heard him. He was listening. He was doing some fucking daredevil shit.
That's true.
So I was completely okay with that. Now, I felt like that was one of the few things they actually got across in this movie.
I still think they didn't earn that.
Maybe they didn't earn that, but I still think that's one of the few things that got across in the movie that was good. Which is the fact that Roland's not some normal guy. He reloads super fast when he shoots. Like, he's on his target. There's no, like... There's no missing. He doesn't miss,
really, yeah.
If there's a pinpoint needle, he'll hit the damn thing. He's not some average Joe. He's not even some expert that you would see in today's world of expert, shooters or marksmen. Like, he's like upper echelon. There's some mystical shit behind it, to some degree. So I thought that was one thing they did and was okay with. But after that, somehow the power is still working, even though we saw them, like, destroy the fucking power generator.
Yeah, they, like, destroy the power generator, and then the people are like, yeah, we got extra parts. We'll just fix this real quick. So they do that, and as they fix it, and Roland gets Jake and tells possibly Colleen.
Not Colleen. Her name is Claudia Kim.
Oh.
I think she's from South Korea.
Well, her real name isn't Colleen. The person from Iron Fist.
That's not her.
Oh, okay. I thought that was her. I remember seeing her. She had done something recently. Like, I looked her up.
Yeah, I'm looking at what she's doing right now. All filmography. Marco Polo. She was in that.
Yeah, this is the person I was thinking
I know who that is now. Actually. Okay, but no, that's not her. Anyways, they go back to New York. They get to New York. They did have the classic scene here, or they go to the hospital to get Roland some meds, because when he got attacked by that demon earlier, he got like a little infection or something.
Oh yeah, there's actually a few shout outs to the books right here. One, him losing access to one of his hands.
Yeah, for a little bit. Not exactly the same way, but it happens.
It happens.
And then also the coke on the subway.
And the drugs.
The drugs,
sort of. Yeah. Roland likes aspirin.
And he likes sugar.
He likes sugar water. And so they have a shout out to that, all that stuff. And just having him, this is a cool thing of having him come to our world and be like, whoa, what is this? What is this? How do you have so many bullets and guns?
Yeah. Although, I guess they kind of did just do that in the Wonder Woman thing, but it's whatever. It can be done multiple times.
I mean, this was probably done in the other, years ago in the books.
True.
Not like
very true.
They were copying.
So they did that. They go to get the guns, because they're going to need a bunch of guns, because they found the...
Well, I think before they do that, they go to his mom's, right?
Oh, that's why they go back to New York, actually. They go back to New York to find the portal to get to Walter. Because there's a portal in New York. That's why.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they take the kids from New York, so that's why they're going back to New York. But yeah, they go back to the mom's, and Walter's killed his stepfather and his mom. Which I actually did not see that coming. I knew he killed the stepfather, obviously. But with the mom, I thought he had something else planned. He's like, because right before this,
there's some implied rape going on with that a little bit.
I didn't see that. Jeez, Jared, you're very dark.
Yeah, well, the reason I was thinking was alluding to something in the book a little bit. And I thought maybe they pulled that from there, but they couldn't be like, this is happening. But he kisses her.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he kisses her and he's like, don't fight it. And it's pretty crazy.
I don't think that's what happened. I feel like you're seeing something else.
I'm pretty sure that happens.
Anyways, we'll go past that. But I certainly thought there was going to be something, because he kind of alludes to there being a surprise at the house, as if, I don't know, she's tied up to it with a bomb.
Yeah, they do go.
But then they get there and she's just, burnt to death or something.
Yeah, he's like, I left him a little surprise, which makes me think you're right, that there's some kind of thing.
Snap. Actually, he uses his shine to kind of see what happened, but it doesn't actually show what happened. Maybe she's not actually dead. Because you never find a body, it just shows burned
on the ground. Yeah.
So maybe if there was going to be a second movie, which it probably isn't going to be now. But
you know why he probably killed her?
Why?
Because he probably wants Jake to be able to go on an adventure. And unlike the Jake from our book, from the books, the Jake from the books has no real ties, and so he just goes on this adventure. He's all on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the Jake in the movie,
in the movie has
no
one
ties.
tie.
Not anymore.
That's my point. That's why they probably killed her.
He doesn't know that now. He thinks she's dead.
Yeah.
I'm saying Walter could have her somewhere. Is what I'm saying.
I'm just saying that's probably why he had her killed or whatever.
I'm saying that there's a possibility that she's not dead, though.
I don't care. I'm just saying that's probably why it happened. I don't care if she's dead or not.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm saying if that happens, we'll see that in a later movie. But the reason
You're saying that's why the writers have her.
yeah,
not
I think
Walter.
that's why. Yeah, you were saying you're surprised that happened. I was saying I was too. But I think the reason they did that was to
I'm talking
take
about
away
in
his.
terms of the story. I'm saying she might not actually be dead, though.
Yeah, she might not. I don't know.
Then they go get the guns because they're gonna attack the people. Somehow, not to get into it, but Jake gets separated from Roland, gets taken to the Rat home base in New York City, and Roland's going in guns blazing, bruh. Okay?
How does it matter how Jake is taken? I don't remember.
It had something to do with him using the crystals.
Oh, it's when they're. Oh, I do remember. Yeah, it's when they're in the gun shop and
the metal spring comes down or whatever. The metal gate.
the little gate that blocks out keeps Robert
unimportant.
out. Yeah, it's unimportant. Okay.
The only important factor is that I'm pretty sure he's using one of the things from the book, which you're not going to know about if you haven't read the books, but there's these, not to get into it too much, but there's these, like, balls of power.
The seeing eye or balls?
Yeah. There's a bunch of these balls of power, and that's what he uses to affect the world, I think, over there, without actually being there.
Yeah.
Because he's not actually there. So yeah, Jay gets taken. He's going. It happens real fast now. Jay gets taken. He's going to be put into this machine to use his mind, laser shine, eye beam powers to take out the tower.
Break the tower,
which is ridiculous to some degree. I mean, it's not necessarily ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they put it in here because it makes no sense here. Like, if we had gotten into the world and like slowly fed this kind of stuff, it made more sense, more description of what exactly is going on. Like I said at the beginning, there's so much in here that they just like gloss over. It's so thin and shell-like that it's like they put all this in here but don't explain anything.
And one of the sort of differences between Walter's character and here in the book, all we get about the tower is like it's doing something. It explains that it's keeping demons out, and also explains that Walter is a nihilist, and he's like, everyone's gonna die. Everything fucking sucks or whatever, and that's why he's trying to kill the tower. And that's it. Which is, honestly, I don't think that's a very nihilist move. Nihilists aren't, like, trying to encourage death, I don't think. They just think nothing matters. But they're like, alright, so then we should murder everyone, right? Like, that's not a general, I don't think that's a general nihilist mood, but that's sort of different the way he is in the book. He is a nihilist in the book. He does think, fucking everything sucks and everything's gonna fall. But he wants to get to the tower.
Yeah, for his own personal
for his own reasons.
Yeah.
He is not trying to break it really. But that's we can get into that. We don't want to get into that too much. I'm just saying there is a change from his character.
I just want to say we've said we don't want to get into that too much, like 10 times.
It's hard because
slowly get into stuff that happens in the book.
It really affects me.
I mean, we haven't spoiled anything.
Nothing big, no.
But Roland goes in. He gets to show off his gun skills and kill a bunch of rat people. It's a cool little battle scene up until the end, at least.
Remember that guy? I think it's the guy you were talking about before, who fights
like the
Roland?
leader. Yeah.
That's crazy. Why didn't he have a gun? Why is he just tackling Roland?
I don't know.
Why?
And that guy, I can't think of his name, but he's a good actor too.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name either. He is a character from the book. I do remember they said his name, Seer or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they get in a fight. That part with the little CGI was kind of bad. Then when the bus thing, like break through the window, and then he gets thrown out the window or something.
Oh yeah.
The CGI was kind of off on that one. It reminds me of X-Men or Wolverine Origins CGI when he has that little bus scene with his brother Sabretooth. But anyways, Roland goes through killing everybody and
kills a whole bunch of people.
Which
is cool to see him just tackle a room of ratmen.
Yeah. Knocked out of a window.
At one point, he takes like a gas can and he does the movie thing of shooting it so it explodes.
Yeah, which quick thing. He's not from this world. How does he even know what the fuck that is?
He can guess gasoline.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that's how that works in real life. But
yeah, well, that too.
that is like a video game movie trope. But
yeah.
you know, I can see that.
Gets back in, kills everybody in the damn building, essentially. In the portal, the portal's like open, and Jake's like keeping the portal open so that he can come through using shine. Which is another thing. Jake's magically all of a sudden in 2 days knows how to use his abilities.
That's a good point. They kind of go really quickly and gloss over that. But Jake goes from the only way he's using his shine, his touch, whatever you want, whatever. The only way he's using his magic is through his dreams. He's seeing the stuff. And he goes from that to, then he tells the monster to stop, and it goes away, or dies, or whatever. And then after that, I think that's it. I think after that point, he knows how to use his power.
He reads, the girl's mind, the seer's mind in, the village.
Does he? Okay.
But, cause she's like, shows him, but like, other than that, they're not there.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Like, without any real, like, I could see if they spent half the movie with him training, but not really.
I don't know. That's a weird.
But yeah, he keeps the door open. Roland and Walter finally had their badass fight scene, which was a little cheesy, but I actually thought it was okay. Like, it was definitely cheesy.
All right. I can probably do the ricochet stuff. That's pretty cool. But the blocking the bullets with the gun, that's so cheesy. That's too much. That's way too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
He's using his gun to block bullets that Walter shoots back at him, is what happens.
Well, Walter throws back.
Throws back at him, you're right.
But, I mean, magically throws back at him, but yeah. But, whatever. It happens. He finally does his thing, kills Walter, or quote-unquote baby.
He kills him by shooting one bullet and then ricocheting another bullet to hit that bullet so that Walter was going to grab the first bullet, but instead it was ricocheted next to his hand.
Yeah.
Surprise. Which, I guess that works. If he's fast enough to grab bullets, though, you think he would be fast enough to be like...
I mean, it was right there at the last second, but I'm okay with how that ended. But then he does, like, this weird thing where he, like, shoots through the portal at Jake's cuff. Shoots only one cuff.
He shoots one cuff.
Which Jake, instantly with one cuff, I don't even see him reach over to get the other cuff. He literally shoots the one cuff, and then Jake just takes off.
Yeah,
Jake doesn't even move the shit off his head.
It's almost like the next scene, Jake is just... I don't think it shows him running even. I'm not sure, but it feels like the next scene, he's just next to Roland now.
Yeah, and then Roland shoots one last bullet or shoots a bullet at the machine.
And blows up the whole facility.
The entire facility.
Turns out it was super easy.
Are we back in an 80s action movie now? Like, there's a lot of these action tropes. Like, we were just talking about the gas can thing.
It's just cliched as fuck.
Yeah. They could have done a lot better. The movie should have been a lot better. Fuck Akiva Goldsman. That's what I got to say. I'm fucking tired of this guy and his, like, ridiculously stupid shit movies.
There's a bit of a history here, like a few writers that we've seen that were like, why are you have a job? Why are you doing this? Scott Buck was one that we were talking about the other day.
Who did Iron Man.
Iron Fist. He did Iron Fist. And now he's doing Inhumans, which looks terrible.
Why
apparently.
are these people hiring these guys? Like, do you not, like, you don't hire, like, so you work at a job, you do a bad job, they put you as a no hire, okay? And then you try to get the job again, they don't hire you back. These guys don't seem to have that fucking thing. They do terrible jobs on movies.
Well, I think Akiva Goldsman does have good movies, but they're just older.
In the past,
right?
I mean, yeah, we got I Am Legend, like iRobot.
That was kind of controversial.
But, I mean, I Am Legend, iRobot. Yeah, I mean, they're a little controversial, but they were okay movies. So that's okay, but then, like, you got, like, Transformers, which was, like, his last, I think, big movie.
Ooh,
that was absolutely awful.
We're never going to do a podcast on that, so I'll just say now, never watch that movie, even if you like bad movies. It was so long and terrible.
It was super long and terrible. At least that's the one good thing he did here, although I think this is the one case where they actually should have made it longer. But they only made it an hour and a half here, so, like, it goes through very quickly. However, again, this is the one case where you have a lot of source material and you really need to go in depth. And they don't. And yeah, it was a pretty bad movie. I'm not going to give it as bad as Jared
I talk
with
you
the
down?
4 out of 10. I still think... I don't know. It might not even be worth the watch.
Anyways, yeah, let's just go ahead and say, end scene, after all this happens, they finish everything up or whatever. the leaving it open part is that Roland's like, I can't stay here. You know that, right? Jake's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, so you want to come with me? Jake's like, hell yeah, boy. I've been dreaming about this.
Yeah.
That's how he talks. He does a great job. That's how they leave it open. They both go through a portal, or they go to another world at the end.
Well, mid-world.
Presumably mid-world. They don't say, I don't think.
No, but that's
and
pretty good.
also, so it sort of leaves it open, but also we don't know why Roland can't stay there, or why Jake would go with them, really, other than he doesn't have any ties here anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I would see that. That's why Jake's he has no family anymore. Yeah.
But my point is, it doesn't hint at what the next story might be. It only leaves it open in that they are gone together.
They fucked this movie up. It could have been a fuck ton better.
It's the potential of what it could be that hurts.
Yeah, exactly. So, on that note, bad movie, bad plot, bad writing. That's the big issues. Good things about it. The characters, the casting was fantastic. The characters' acting, I think, was pretty damn good, especially Tom Taylor as Jake Chambers. Just calling him out because, again, you don't really see kids who do that well. He did really good.
There's been a slew of good child actors lately. Think like Stranger Things. Those kids did
those
great.
kids do great. Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown, whatever her name is, just killing it.
Now that I think about it, come out at the end of October, we'll probably do a podcast on that too, because we'll binge watch all that in one day.
Yeah, I'll definitely. If you're listening to this, I recommend watching anything that's 8 episodes. Binge watch it. It's designed to be binge watch.
Yeah, it's super good. Like I said, we're going for Game of Thrones sometime this week. Then Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and we'll do some other stuff from there. We'll name it on the next podcast. Overall, any extra thoughts?
We talked about cheesy story. Talked about cheesy lines. Talked about terrible cliches. It's cliched up the yin yang.
Overall, it's a 5 out of 10 movie. It's maybe even worse for Jared.
I stick with technically watchable, or a step above the Dragon Ball movie.
It's watchable on Netflix. When it comes out to Netflix, give it a watch.
I mean, if you like the Dark Tower series, I would say you might just want to stay away from this. But if you can accept a cheesy, bad movie and just watch it in that way, you might enjoy it.
Actually, might be really good if you're looking to read the Dark Tower series.
You want to start with something bad?
And then read it and you're like, wow, this is so much better. Because the Dark Tower is pretty good. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. Probably like an 8.5 out of 10 for me. So it's a good book series. It's something you should go into. And at some point in the future, we probably will do a podcast on it as well.
Yeah, we probably, at some point, we'd have to reread them. But
yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching us. If you got any comments or any feedback and whatnot that you want to give us so we can get better and do our thing, because we're trying to do better. Obviously, we're a new podcast. Hit us up. Give us some comments, and we love your faces. And
I think your face is ugly.
Okay, he thinks your face is ugly. I love your face. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye.